Hello and welcome back to the channel. I've been pretty busy lately playing other games other than Battlefield. Been playing a ton of Rainbow Six, been enjoying that game quite a bit. Just recently put out a video, definitely recommend checking it out. But we do have some Battlefield 6 news I did want to cover and kind of give my opinion on. And I figured since we're doing this, I'll put up some Battlefield 4 gameplay in the background since, Battlefield 6 is going to resemble a lot of Battlefield 4 from what we've seen in the leaked gameplay so far. As we do go over this, I will put some articles up on the screen so it's easy to follow along. And everything we do go over is reported. I wouldn't say it's 100% factual, so definitely take everything with a grain of salt. But it definitely seems like EA is swinging for the fences with Battlefield 6. They are estimating that 100 million players will be playing this game. I will give EA credit for being confident in their game. I'd rather see confidence than, being very timid and not really that confident in your game. But I do think this number is pretty unrealistic considering the number for Battlefield 2042 was only 22 million players over its lifespan. And of course, Battlefield 2042 is the newest game and still being played to this day, but they would have to get another 80 million to reach the amount of players they're expecting for Battlefield 6. So I expect the 100 million mark just to be a little bit of an unrealistic number. And when I say a little bit, I'm definitely putting it mildly. But like I mentioned, Battlefield 2042 did have 22 million players, but that is not the best Battlefield game we've seen with player numbers. The best one we have seen was Battlefield 1 with around 30 million players. And hearing that number for Battlefield 1 is not too hard to understand. Battlefield 1 was such a good and cinematic game, and definitely one of the last good Battlefields we had in the series, even though I think the pinnacle of Battlefield was around Bad Company 2 and Battlefield 3, but nonetheless, tremendous numbers and definitely deserved for that game. But by EA having these high expectations, I do kind of feel like they're setting themselves up for failure. I feel like when you're making a game, you don't want to have super low expectations where it's just so easily to obtain. You kind of want to go into a game, doing your best, being confident with it, but not really setting any expectations. Because at the end of the day, the player numbers are going to speak for themselves, and there's really no control you have over it other than just making a great product and putting it out to the people. But along with a high expectation of player counts, we did see a report of their budget for Battlefield 6, and their budget is reportedly to be around 400 million, and to most people hearing that is just an astronomical amount of money. But in today's day and age, that's not honestly a crazy amount of money for making video games. Because if we look at one of Call of Duty's recent games, with Call of Duty Cold War, this budget is actually only around half of what Call of Duty spent on Cold War. So it really just shows the amount of money it takes to make these games. And in my opinion, I don't believe these games are getting better than what they have over the past 10 years. So it does kind of blow my mind a little bit. More money's being put into it, but we are not getting a good return in quality when these games are released to the gamers. And I wouldn't be surprised if we do see this amount of money drop down over the next few years when making games, considering AI has become such a huge thing in the gaming industry. As of right now, AI is definitely not perfect, but as it does get improved over the next few years, it could make these games technologically easier and cheaper to make. But definitely the biggest takeaway from these leaks and reports is that there will be a Battle Royale releasing with Battlefield 6, and it is rumored for this to be free. And a lot of this Battle Royale speculation definitely came with the leaked video we've seen of helicopters flying into a map very much resembling like we see in Call of Duty Warzone today. And there hasn't been too many reports of the location for this Battle Royale, but I did see one saying that this will take place in California. But I can definitely see this being a good location. There's plenty of different environments. You can be fighting in Hollywood Hills, then you can move to the inner city, tall buildings, then there's always the open desert. So a bunch of different elements, a bunch of different environments to fight in, and I think it could work out pretty well if that was a location, but these are just rumors at the moment. But this is not the first time that EA has used Battlefield to dip their toe into the Battle Royale market. The first time we've seen a Battle Royale introduced in Battlefield was with Battlefield 5, and of course we remember this game mode as Firestorm, which is a very fitting name when the map gets smaller and smaller by a ring of fire. And I do feel like with this game mode, it was a lazy attempt at a Battle Royale. I feel like EA thought they had to compete with Black Ops 4 Blackout Battle Royale mode. Because at the time, Fortnite was doing so well with their Battle Royale, Call of Duty and Battlefield seen this as a good opportunity to hop into the Battle Royale market and try to make some money off these players. But this isn't the only time I feel like Battlefield is trying to chase Call of Duty. I feel like they're doing the same thing right now while making Battlefield 6 and adding in a Battle Royale mode. It seems like history is repeating itself, And me personally, I'm definitely more of a Battlefield fan than a Call of Duty fan. And it never used to be that way when I was younger, but I always did like the more open environment, more chaos, more destruction with the Battlefield games. So I started slowly spending less time on Call of Duty and more time on the Battlefield games. And at the time, it seemed like a really good idea. You know, Battlefield 3, Battlefield 4, they were so good and such a huge part of my childhood. But no doubt with the release of Black Ops 2, it definitely got me back into Call of Duty for a while. But I always felt like I kind of split my time evenly with Battlefield and Call of Duty at that point. But over the past few years, I do feel like I find myself playing less and less of each of the franchise because I feel like they went so far out of the way of what made them unique in the first place. But I do feel like Battlefield was always a step behind Call of Duty. And I definitely believe EA thinks this as well, even today, because I feel like with this implementation of a Battle Royale into Battlefield again, I think it's them solely focusing on Call of Duty's player base and trying to steal some of their players. And I find this to be an impossible task with the news we've heard of Black Ops 7 releasing being a sequel to Black Ops 2. Now I do think from the leaked footage we've seen so far with Battlefield 6, and it is still crazy the amount of footage we have seen, but I definitely feel like, and most people would agree, that Battlefield 6 is looking pretty good and they are going in the right direction with their core mode. But from a logical standpoint, there's only so much focus you can put on a game, and even if some of their focus is on a Battle Royale, which I think doesn't make any sense for a Battlefield game, they're absolutely just trend chasing and chasing Call of Duty like they have been, like I mentioned. I would definitely like to see their focus on what makes a Battlefield game, and that is destruction, great gunplay, great solid maps, and no doubt we are seeing this in some of the gameplay we've seen, but I feel like all their focus should be on the core of Battlefield. And even at this point, you know, I would like to see some focus on their single player, which we have heard there will be a single player, which is definitely good to hear. I hate games not making single players, but that is because they're putting some of their time into these battle royales and also other things like cosmetics, which make no difference on the game. But I understand games, they try to make money the most they can. It's just kind of sad what we live in nowadays with these video game companies. The last thing we do have is one of EA's last financial reports that supports that the game will be out by March of 2026. And I feel like this is the absolute cutoff for Battlefield because GTA 6 will be releasing in May of 2026. And there's definitely no doubt that EA wants to get their game out before then, because when GTA 6 releases, nobody wants to be around that release date. But because of GTA 6 releasing around this time, it does put EA in a tough spot. I hope their game don't come out half-baked like it has been, because there's really no way for them to push the game back a couple months, because like I mentioned, GTA 6 will be releasing around that time. So it's either release it now or they push it back to the end of 2026, which definitely nobody wants to see. But if that means their game comes out more complete, I'm definitely would be more willing to see that. But that is everything I have for y'all. Definitely let me know down in the comments your thoughts on Battlefield 6 as a whole, how you think it will compare to some of the older Battlefields we've seen. And if you're a Battle Royale fan, can you see yourself leaving Warzone to come play a Battlefield Battle Royale? And most importantly, if you like the video, please subscribe.